record this. So, welcome everyone to Online Publishing Options with Sue Ellson and Jennifer Lancaster. Hi, Jen. Great to have you there. And we're really looking forward to a fantastic session today. Get strapped in for 2 hours. There is going to be a little break around halfway where I'll put you into a breakout room so that you can chat with some other people if you'd like to, or you can just disappear and get a refreshment or go to the bathroom, whatever you prefer. And you've already received the slides. They have been emailed through to you. So if for any reason you can't see it on the Zoom slide, then you can definitely look at the slides and go through that way. So, I've just realised I've got one other setting I need to change. And we'll just quickly do that so that there is definitely no confusion on the screen. Okay, here we go. All right. Whoops, I'll just make sure we'll now choose share the. Okay, so you should see my screen now. If anybody doesn't see it, please let me know. There's my contact details and Jen's contact details. So if you've got quick questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out to us. The slides and the recording will be on this website link later today. This is the picture you may have seen on the promotional material. So just to make sure you know you're in the right place, this is where we are. So tiny bit of background on me while other people are arriving. I started my career at Westpac in Adelaide 6 days after my last year 12 exam, and I worked in the bank for 11 years before I had the opportunity to move to Melbourne, got a job, found out I was pregnant, got sacked, and basically haven't had a real job since 1994. So I have plenty of experience of using technology because as a result of my experience, I did a research project through university, surveyed 96 people who'd moved to Melbourne within the last 5 years, and developed my very first website, newcomersnetwork.com, online in 2001. And interestingly, I joined LinkedIn in 2003. So I'm member number 77832, one of the first 80,000 people in the world on the platform. But I didn't create SueElson.com until 2012. So that was sort of 11 years later. And but anyway, in 2016, I wrote three 80,000 word books in 9 months, which was the best year of my life, I often say. And the best day of my life happened in 2019 when I launched my Gigsters book at the Wheeler Centre here in Melbourne, the home of writing. But it was also when my two children were on stage with me, my son as the MC and my daughter as the interviewer. And when I announced, we're three-quarters of the way through, oh, this is my children, there was this collective gasp from the audience. They couldn't believe that my children were part of it. And I was just so excited to have that happen. And then my most recent book is LinkedIn for Me and My Career or Business. My next two books that I've been talking about for years are going to be poetry books. But when you've got to earn a living, that sort of project gets put to the side. But I have published over 170 poems on my website, and they've been republished over 178 times, which is super exciting as well. So I'm a member of various professional associations, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you join a professional association related to what you're doing. And if it's related to writing, you can join the Australian Society of Authors and end up with a profile on their website. Or if you're in Melbourne, you can join Writers Victoria. So, Jen, would you like to give yourself a little bit of an introduction there, please? If you just unmute first.
I'm done. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Hi. Yeah, I was also in the corporate world for a while as a marketing coordinator. And in 2004, I escaped and yeah, by way of having a baby, started
Uh-huh.
writing my own little books on the side, motherhood. And then one thing led to another, I guess. I love writing. And then people started to seek my help because I was writing my blog from 2012 or so,
Mm-hmm.
and jenniferlancaster.com.au blog. And so I've been writing it fortnightly for a long, long time
Wonderful.
online. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also we had another blog as well. And I had a further website before that. So I've been along in the tooth as well.
Yeah. Well, I call it wisdom and enthusiasm. That's what we
That's
are able
it.
to convey. So it's not about
Yeah,
youth and beauty, wisdom
that's
and
right.
enthusiasm. So we've definitely got that in spades.
Yeah.
And would you like to mention a little bit about your courses too?
Oh, yeah. So, as I'm an editor and I've worked out self-publishing for myself, I created a self-publishing course now called Book Creation Self-Publish,
Hmm.
um, which is like 45 lessons, video lessons mostly, and also guides to help someone through their own book publishing and production process right from the start,
Hmm.
right to launch. And yeah, I will have more launch materials coming up soon, templates and so on.
Great.
Yeah, so I've got some there already, and yeah, because I find that the stickler with some authors is they get to the point of finishing their books, they've had it edited, they've got a design, but they don't really know what their launch plan is. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah. And I often go to the Busy Bird Publishing, um, what do they call it? Open mic nights. And yes, there's a lot of people who get the book done, but then don't know how to market it. And so it ends up being this dust collecting activity on a shelf somewhere in the house where you've got your books and they never get out there. So yeah, that marketing piece is very important. And thank you, Jen, for volunteering your time today. Obviously, it's a free event, so I'm volunteering my time as well.
right.
And we also appreciate everybody showing up because that means you're going to get the most value out of it as well. So, what I do on each of my presentations is I keep myself accountable and write down where you can find me online. So, all of these links are on the contact page of my website. So, if you'd like to follow me on any of the channels, you can see here that LinkedIn is the one I obviously favour. And I've only, recently joined Substack last year. And some of the others are a bit longer and so on, but yeah, you're welcome to connect with me on your favorite social channels, and likewise with Jennifer, you're welcome to join her on LinkedIn, Facebook. She's got a newsletter you can subscribe to, as you said, fortnightly, Pinterest, Twitter at X, and also YouTube. And if you choose subscribe to these channels, then you're going to be kept up to date with the other content that we produce. So that can be helpful as well.
Algorithm willing.
Algorithm willing, yes. Yes, we're all at the mercy of algorithms. And I had an interesting story about algorithms. My first website, newcomersnetwork.com, I had a call this week. I haven't operated it since COVID hit because I didn't feel comfortable bringing people together during COVID, and I had basically had to stop and again, earn a living, so do other things. And last night I had a call Friday night from my Brisbane representative of Newcomers Network saying somebody had contacted him because they've just moved to Brisbane. So it looks like AI has treated newcomersnetwork.com very favourably. And so it might be time for me to reignite that. So sometimes these little projects we develop, they go in abeyance for a little while and then they come back. So don't ever feel that you have to ever give anything up. You can always sort of regurgitate things as well. But I would like to pass on some very, very special thank yous. So, when I promoted the first event in this series, Online Publishing Options for Over 50s, which I hosted at the Melbourne City Library in January, I contacted seniors in Melbourne. Now, Amy Gardner runs it, and she is one dynamic powerhouse, I have to say. And she just took the ball and ran with it and said, Sue, I can write a story and I can do this and I can run a competition. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, at last, somebody who knows how to do things online. So I'm so impressed. And she interviewed me. It took hours to answer her questions. And then she wrote this beautiful article and she called me a quiet change maker and champion for lifelong learning. And I was super excited by her interpretation of my online efforts. So I really want to acknowledge Amy Gardner from Seniors in Melbourne. And I also contacted the senior newspaper, which I have to say has excellent quality content. And the journalist was a trainee journalist who interviewed me. And this article she wrote so well. It's got lots of little 10-step guides and so on, and you can create a free account. I can't give you a copy of it because obviously it's on their website, but you can access it for free if you log into the senior newspaper and you can check it out. Obviously, I put all my events on Eventbrite, LinkedIn, and Google and Facebook, so that attracted a few more people. Then there's this terrific website in Melbourne called the Melbourne City of Literature website, and you can post your events on there. I don't think I've ever got a registration from there, but it does help me appear in online search results. So if you've got a book launch happening, you would definitely want to, and it was in Melbourne, you would definitely put it on the City of Literature website. And as a member of Writers Victoria, I can put 2 classified ads in their newsletter per year. So this one went out on Thursday, and I think I got 2 or 3 registrations from that as well. So I really like to acknowledge the people who've supported this event. Now, if you do need to leave early today, there is an exit survey that will pop up on your screen. 4 quick questions, which will help Jen and I understand if we do something again, what you would like to have in it, what you found most helpful. And of course, if you'd like to write a Google review, that's the QR code you can scan. And if you'd like to write a Facebook review for Jen, that's the QR code that you can scan as well. Now, the agenda, we're going to go through all of this in the next 2 hours, so that's pretty exciting. I'll flash this up again so that before you do your exit survey, you'll remember all the fabulous things we've gone through today. So if you feel comfortable, you are most welcome to put your name and your location in the chat and any goals that you might have from today. And I have created this content with 2 specific types of people in mind. The professional person who has a business and wants to get more results out of their business by putting content online, as well as the creative person who has something that they would like to share with the world. Now, that could be writing, it could be images, it could be audio, or it could be video. So any one of those 4 options, this is the webinar for you. And in my Gigsters book, I talk about you being your own kind of peculiar. And this is an expression I gathered from Michael Leunig, a very famous poet and contributor to the Age newspaper here in Melbourne. And I went to his memorial service, but prior to when he was still alive, I went to another event and he kept talking about we should all be our own kind of peculiar. And boy, I am glad that everybody is different to me. Like, it's so nice that so many people are different to us. It makes life interesting, and it's so much better than AI, which, draws us down to the most common denominator. And we need to educate AI into being human, because obviously what AI has done so far is just collected everything that was on the internet. It doesn't connect that huge diversity of human experience. So I've sort of got this philosophical reason for trying to get people to publish more of their content so that the computers and robots learn about what it is to be genuinely human. And I'll look at some of those comments. Whilst you're adding your comments to the chat, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of why online publishing is so important. So this is a little screenshot. So what I did is I logged into the Google Analytics, which is a program on the back end of my sueellson.com website. And I looked at my stats. So from 28 days prior to February 3rd last year and 28 days prior to February 23rd this year. And what you can see, fortunately, is that my traffic has increased from 3,842 to 5,636. So yay, my website traffic is increasing. But what you will also see is last year, most of my traffic came from organic search results. So that means somebody put in a query into Google or Bing or Yahoo search engine, and voila, nearly 71% of my traffic came from search queries. And now the scary thing is 64% is coming basically via AI. It's not coming via or somebody who's got sueelson.com, I've sent them a link and they've clicked it and they've come through to my website. So my organic search results has dropped from 71 down to 33%. That's a pretty big hit. And so if we don't think about how we can appear in AI results, if you were only getting search results, then yeah, things could change quite dramatically. And if you'd like to see my little analysis of that, you can click that link. Now, so that's for the business people here. Now, for the creative people here, most of us love what we do and we share our content because we have a huge passion for it. Some people may aspire to be published in a particular book. And a lot of people say, Sue, don't put your poems online because then it's copyrighted and nobody else will be interested in them. And, nobody. And I said, look, my goal with my writing is to be read. I want people to read my content. So if I got into a book, how many people woke up this morning and said, I'd like to go to the shops and buy a poetry book? I know there's not too many people who did that this morning. But in an hour of need, they'll go searching on the interwebs for some consolation and comfort related to some issue that they've got, and voila, my poem pops up. And I'm super excited by that. My domestic violence poem has had over 17,000 views. Now, how many books would you have to sell to get 17,000 views of your poem? It's different. But not only that, because I do have my poems online and out there all the time, Jennifer Lancaster in southern New South Wales contacted me. She's an artist and she does things with sewing and crafts. And she had created this beautiful shape of a heart with stitching, and she wanted to put my poem at the back of it, and it was entered in a textile fair, and that was in 2024. And last week she told me she's going to post it to me, so very soon I'm going to be putting it in a frame and putting it on the bookshelf here behind me. So I'm super excited by that unexpected outcome. In January last year, Jeremy Landig from Chicago in the USA asked if he could use my poem in a choral piece, and he created music, and that's on YouTube, and he's put it to be licensed and whatever, whatever. And then the beautiful person who turned up at the Melbourne City Library in January, she's a calligraphy artist, and she just decided she would write it in calligraphy, a little verse from my poem. And this verse is really important because it's actually, my mother passed away last year and I wrote a poem called Death Poem. And then she has happened to pick that particular poem to put in calligraphy. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited by these sorts of things. These are unexpected consequences and just random things that have happened as a result of publishing my content online, which if you're in a book, you would not necessarily hear about this. And if you look at the republished poems page of my website, there's a whole bunch of other places where my poems have been republished. So let's look in the chat here. Decluttering, thanks Julie. Written a book and need to know what to do next. Excellent, you'll get lots of ideas on that. Macedon Rangers, share your stories on Substack. Yes, Maggie, I went down the rabbit hole of Substack this week to decide whether or not I would push that as a platform to potentially earn money out of newsletter subscribers. I've decided I'm going to keep sharing my content and review it again in 6 months. Cassie in Canberra, welcome. Professional academic. Now, Cassie, I did a webinar for the Australian Institute of Company Directors in January, and I edited the profile of Dr. Judy Lothian, and she's an academic. So I definitely recommend that you check her out on LinkedIn because lots of the recommendations about what you would do as an academic are definitely there. Okay, Claire from Perth, woohoo! Nice and early over there. So thank you for learn more about online publishing. Robin from Yorta Yorta in the Goulburn Valley, creating learning into more professional outcomes. Fantastic, yes. And don't be afraid to publish online. If anything goes terribly wrong, you've only got to wait 19 hours before the next news cycle comes along and they're interested in something else. So, as my grandmother would say, make yourself a cup of tea with a bit of sugar in it and just carry on. It's a very easy way to do it. Ellson from the Ballerine, late to short story and poetry, integrate poems with photography and background music. Oh, that sounds amazing. Alison, Julie, I was on a webinar of Julie Cliffs, who's here today, and she said, "Oh, Sue, you must have affirmations." And all because she said that, I started writing affirmations. So, yep, we can just keep on being as creative as we like. Nicole from Croydon, ideas to get you up to date with online publishing options and techniques as an employee. Oh, excellent. Yes, well, Nicola, please download my Gigsters book because that will tell you how to make that transition from the world of a normal job to the other world of everything. Dave has been on with me on various other webinars, so great to have you with us. He's an audiobook producer. We'll be focusing on Laurie Smale, which is one of Dave's clients later on in the webinar. So, Dave, please interrupt if there's something you would like to add at any time. Anna, a business student, enjoyed writing but never considered it as a career. Well, as a career, I can't guarantee it's going to be the same as a normal job in terms of income, but it is definitely something you can develop over time. So definitely encourage that. Georgina in Frankston, artist and would-be writer. Look, if you can speak, you can write. That's what I say. So put it out there. You never know who's going to love the way you write and know what's involved in self-publishing. Excellent, Sue in South Australia. Yay, that's where I'm from. Sketches and paintings to publishers, gift card makers, museums, and community centres. How wonderful. Short stories, essays. Great, thank you. Wonderful to have you with us, Sue. Cindy, retired career development practitioner. Well, that's me too. Well, not retired, but still doing careers. Returned to the industry in private practice. Excellent. And write your biography. I tell you what, Cindy, writing is just the best way to clear things out of your head. It's transformative. So even if no one else reads it, but you create it, it is so, so powerful as a tool. Cindy's in Newmundi. Welcome, not far from my sister. Scott in Melbourne, interested in creating stuff out there with various stripes. Long-time procrastinator and distracted by the must-dos in life. Oh my goodness, Scott, can I relate to that? Yes, there's always so many things we feel we must do, but what's going to bring us joy? And speak to Julie about making time for those sorts of things. She's an expert on that. Thanks, I see it up there. The academic's name, yes, got that. Good, excellent. All right, thank you for your contributions in the chat there. That's really wonderful. Really appreciate those. All right, so pros and cons. I mean, I'm just going to let you read these. I don't think we need to read them out. We all know that there are fabulous advantages to publishing, but there's also a lot of costly ones. The most concerning one I had was somebody else who came when I was teaching at the CAE to create a simple WordPress website. She was an academic and she got a package after leaving university and she decided to build a website even though she had no clients, and she paid $20,000 for a website. Now, her business was going to be editing PhD papers. How many PhD papers would she need to edit to get her $20,000 back? And all she needed to do was start off with a LinkedIn profile and look for people studying a PhD, connect with them, mention that she edits PhD papers, get some clients, and then once she's got a running business, then she could have created a website. And she would have been able to do all of that with a zero investment and, use that 20 grand to fund her activities and not be stressed about life while she was building up her business. So please don't go out and spend 20 grand on a website. Like it's absolutely not worth it. And you can start everything just with a LinkedIn profile. Some people think that the only way they can do it is if it looks perfect. Now, my sister, when she started up a little Airbnb business, I created a website with her using a template that I paid 60 US dollars for. It was a vacation rental template. So it had the guest book and the booking form and all that already packaged in. And then when she started making money out of her Airbnb, I said, okay, now it's time for you to upgrade. And because she had a WordPress website, all of her content moved over just with a new layout. And so she didn't lose any of her Google ranking, and she'd started off at the affordable option and she moved over to the more advanced option when she had time for that. So, yeah. Another person I spoke to on the phone last night is a real whippersnapper. Planning to leave Melbourne and go and live in the United Arab Emirates and set up three businesses and family trusts and change names and you name it, he's doing it. And he said he loves AI, but he wants a human to help him with his LinkedIn profile. And I think this is a really good strategy with all of this. Yes, we can use the tech, but it's also a really good idea to focus on working with people. So I've got some warnings here. I do want to remind you, you must understand what you're paying for and why you're paying for it before you do anything. So another client, she got a fabulous quote for her website and it was done in stages and she paid in stages and when it went live, she paid the rest. And so I said, can I please have a look at your quote? And half the things that were on that document were not completed. But because the website went live, she thought everything had been finished. So you don't need to know everything technological about this to go on this online publishing journey. But if you are going to pay for something, you need to understand exactly what you are paying for. Now, Dave, if you're available, can you just pop in and just mention how you do it as an audiobook producer? Because I really like the model you use.
Oh, thanks, sir. That's lovely. Well, having been in the audiobook production business now for well, it's coming up to 10 years now. I totally agree with you about LinkedIn, that in the early days of the business, I didn't have a website,
Hmm.
and LinkedIn was a fabulous way of just beginning to create awareness.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out before, things like engagement has dropped on LinkedIn, and the algorithm changes,
Hmm.
seemingly every couple of days, that sort of stuff. So you can't really rely on one kind of social media or one kind of promotional
Hmm.
conduit to get the word out there. But fortunately, after 10 years, the lovely thing is that people remember me, and they're coming back for their second and third audiobooks and
Hmm.
that sort of thing. So the old, the thing where personally for myself, it's not the same for everyone, but for myself, I get the greatest sense of gratitude and the greatest sense of success about hearing back from people that I've worked with in the past and then going on with
Hmm.
them again for another. It's sort of, it's a confidence builder for both parties, I think.
Yes. And the other thing that you do that I really appreciate is you don't hold the keys to the mansion. You create all the accounts for them and then you pass that back over to the author, which I think is a really important point.
Thanks, Sue. I think that's an important part of it because it gives you and again, as you were pointing out before, it's really good to understand as best you can what it is you've signed up for. So for
Mm.
me, I made this a very specific choice that I would create a beginning, middle, and end of the process. It usually takes about 8 weeks.
Hmm.
And then beyond that, whatever money the author make through royalties and
Mm.
by whatever means for the audiobook. And by
Entirely
the way,
theirs.
I recommend that everyone put their audiobook on their website for sale so that you don't have to pay Amazon 75%. But that's a story that'll come
Mm.
out later, no doubt.
Well, definitely with
But
Jen,
yeah,
you will definitely be able
yeah,
to help us with that. Thank
that's
you, Dave. Great, great to
pleasure.
have those tips. Really, really helpful. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you can monetize everything you do by doing online courses, and you'll make a fortune because your expertise is so valued." So maybe Jen, can you talk to this one? Has putting courses on your website created, thousands of dollars rolling into your bank account?
Unfortunately, not so. Otherwise, I'd probably be going put my feet up right now. Yeah, and even the experts I follow on YouTube have said that online courses aren't really selling that well. It's fully saturated, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's not selling that well anymore. Now there's a
Mm.
few players that will still sell a course on self-publishing, and I've got my little course.
Mm.
I tend to give it to people who are doing a writing coaching program, so
Yeah.
they got that bonus materials to learn as they go.
Mm.
And the other thing with online courses is a lot of people don't realize that I've had people buy the one on Thinkific, all overseas and stuff like that.
Mm.
And it's great to see the person that finished didn't pay for it. That was like a bonus I gave. And the
Yes.
people that paid only did 20%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very interesting. And nowadays, I think people like to have a bit of a live cohort so that
Mm-hmm.
they're learning in two ways and they can ask the questions as they go.
Yeah. And I also found when I wrote my LinkedIn course, which was based specifically off my book. So it's basically
Mm,
turn the page of the book, here's a video that explains that bit. Turn the page, here's another video
mm.
that explains. But I found that it was really helpful for me as the expert to put it in a course. Like it created a methodology that I could use with my clients as much as anything else. So did you find that when you created your course?
That's a good thing that some people do actually. They do take the other way round.
Mm.
They do take it from a course to a book as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, mine's not really related to a book, but because it's more, planned out the curriculum as if you would go through the stages of writing and designing,
Mm. Yeah.
launching a book. So it was a planned thing, but
Cool.
that some people just want to keep it simple, and I applaud that notion. I just can't
Yeah,
seem to do
absolutely.
it myself.
Well, we all have to do what we feel comfortable with and what's manageable for us. And, some things are easier than others. And one of the things I do not recommend, though, is outsourcing to a cheaper country. So I've been to all the rah-rah seminars for many, many years. Oh, yes, just outsource it to the Philippines. It's only 4 hours time difference. And, they can do everything for you. And I had a very sad story of another client recently. And I said to them, look, we don't want anybody from another country accessing the back end of your website because we don't know what they're going to do to the back end of your website. They could put affiliate links in there. They have different rules on privacy in other countries. And anyway, she shopped and shopped and shopped around, and this business based in Australia said, yes, 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 we'll be doing all the editing of your website here. And then they outsourced it to a foreign country, and it didn't work, and she couldn't get her money back. So look, just please be careful. It may cost you a little bit more in the beginning to have something done in Australia with Australian people, but you're not going to have this headache of what happens when everything goes pear-shaped. And sometimes that stress is just absolutely not worth it. So please, I don't look, if you've got somebody who's just creating content for you and doing some little edits and stuff in editor mode, fine. But please don't give the keys to the mansion to some foreign country. I've seen too many disasters happen, and then people have to spend a lot of money because their website was hacked or fixing up problems or something not working, etc., etc. Also, if you're going to go down the path of getting anything paid for, you should always get 3 written quotes and make sure everything's done before the final payment. And if you're going to purchase a domain name, and I do recommend that you all purchase yourownname.com if that's available. So even if your business name is going to be something different, you might build that up and sell it, but you still need to have a website in your own name. So, as a good mother in technology, I purchased my daughter's domain name and had it for years and years and years. And then, of course, I decided now's the time to pass it over to her. So I had to go through all the paperwork and pay $19 for the registration form. And it went over to her account. She never saw the reminders. And of course, it's been pinched by a Chinese online casino. And a website domain name broker has told her they want 2,000 US dollars if she wants it back. So, for goodness sake, if you're going to buy a domain name, make sure you know when it expires and make sure you've paid for it. And also, when you do buy it, you need to purchase something called domain name privacy, so you're not receiving a whole bunch of spam. But you do not need to buy 16 versions of that domain name. So I've got sueelson.com. I do not have .com.au, .co.uk, .co.nz, .net, .co.io. I don't have any of those. I've just got sueelson.com. You do not need to buy 16 versions. All you're doing is making money for the domain name company when you do that. Okay, so that's just some quick warnings. Now, realistic expectations. Oh, I've got something in the chat here. What's that? Everyone should register with the Oz Copyright Agency as well. Yes, Cass, terrific comment. If you've published a book and also you've got other content online, register with the Copyright Agency because they go scouring the interwebs looking for your content, and they also send you a check to pay you for the quality of that content that is online. So definitely worth registering there. That link is also on my online publishing options page on my website, so you can check that out there. Thank you for that alert. So before you start publishing anything online, what is your mission? Is your goal to be just read and found and, share your wisdom and expertise with the world or your creativity? Or do you absolutely want to go down the traditional publishing path? Even if you do want to go down the traditional publishing path, publishers will say, what's the size of your audience? They will not consider hiring you unless you've got an audience. So I thought, oh, I've got a huge audience through Newcomers Network and all these things, and it still didn't mean I sell a whole lot of books. And would you agree with this too, Jen?
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how have you built your audience for your publications?
Well, I wish it was more smooth and easy, but I guess I build up the subscribers over the years with different opt-ins. I've offered them free little upgrades, content upgrades they're called, so that I'll keep in touch with them pretty regularly. So when a book will be coming out, I can at least tell them. And I've also set up my Amazon Author Central page so that anyone who's surfing on Amazon is curious about me, they can follow and they'll get a notice as well when I publish. So there's a couple ways there, and there's a million other ways I've tried that don't work.
I love your honesty, Jan. That's gorgeous. And Julie, if you're still around, can you just tell us, you do some amazing things to keep space and time, your business out there in the public zeitgeist. Would you like to share any tips?
We focus mainly on Facebook. It just seems to be where a lot of our people are that want help with decluttering and organising. And so as well as LinkedIn, Instagram doesn't seem to be much for us, but so Facebook and also our newsletter. But contrary to what you did say, I do have an assistant from overseas, and she does a lot of it for me under my direction, obviously, and we write it together.
Yes.
But that's sort of what we're working on. I couldn't do it without her, but that's sort of what we focus on, the Facebook and our newsletter list.
Yeah, and it's interesting you should talk about those two topics there, because a lot of people poo-poo Facebook and say, oh, everybody's over on Instagram, but Facebook still has the traffic because a lot of people use Facebook Messenger. And so people, when they go to Messenger, end up seeing Facebook. And so, yeah, there is an audience still on Facebook. It's still more popular.
People perhaps around my age, over 50 and beyond, they're looking to downsize and declutter. And that's where we are still on Facebook, I found. So that's what we focus on.
Yeah. And your lovely assistant, sorry, I've forgotten her name. Yes. She is doing the content side. So not the creation of the website. She's doing the content stuff.
No,
so
she does help me tweak the website. She does have access to it, but she's been with me for 4 years.
Right.
So there are some different parameters there. I certainly didn't give her access straight up.
No.
But I'm rebuilding my website at the moment. She won't have access to that, but Absolutely, you know, there's some trust, a lot of trust involved in that, but that's come with time.
Perfect. Yeah, no, terrific. Wonderful. All right. Well, just again, to realistic expectations, anything you do online is not likely to be instantly profitable. When I was doing the deep dive on Substack, I found out that most people need a minimum of 500 free subscribers before they end up with any paid subscribers. And most of the accounts, I mean, it is a smaller audience size on Substack, and they say that you have ownership of your audience, but you're still on somebody else's third-party platform. So I'll be giving you some other examples later, but yeah, please don't believe the hype, even that AI tells you, oh, can you make money out of Substack? It'll tell you yes, because it knows it wants you, that's the answer you want to hear. And it will give you valid reasons for it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Be very clear on what your expectations are. I personally believe nothing online works for a minimum of 6 months. That's the minimum time frame for something to go from zero to something. And for me, there is an intrinsic satisfaction in a lot of the stuff I do publishing online rather than a direct extrinsic reward. But as Julie and Jen and Dave have all mentioned, over time, you do get that extrinsic reward if you just keep at it with that consistency. And that consistent approach is really essential with anything you do online. So this is a very complex screen, but what I just want to do is talk to it. Oh, sorry, I've got something else in the chat here. Let's just make sure we've got that. Facebook works well until it doesn't. When something goes wrong, you can lose everything. Absolutely true, Robin. There was an algorithm change some years ago, and multiple businesses were completely wiped out. There was another business in my local area when that big hoo-ha about Google paying, newspapers and mainstream media for their content, as well as social media, you know, resharing the latest news from the newspaper. And this person's website, which was designed to help people with technology, was classified as a news outlet, and her Facebook account was immediately shut overnight. So, you know, we are at the whim of all of these platforms if we try and build an audience. When my website was hacked, and it's not a case of if your website is hacked, it's a case of when your website will be hacked. It's just a matter of time. What they did was they took out the images off my website. So it wasn't really major. There was still all my text there. But I was very nervous about somebody visiting my website and potentially being, you know, having some virus by visiting the website. So I immediately shut down my website for a few days until I was confident that people would not be attacked by visiting my website. But because I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and all these other websites, if somebody Googled me, they would still be able to reach me. So, you know, this is why I've got my finger in multiple little pies or irons in lots of fires, because, yeah, I definitely want to make sure that helps. Dave said Amazon Author Centre is a free way of extending your profile and adding, yeah, perfect. So lots of the other platforms, even YouTube, enables you to put your links to your other websites, including your Facebook and Instagram, even on your YouTube channel. So you can do that. So social media, it is a closed environment. It's a megalomaniac. More people, more often, for longer is their whole reason for being. It can be addictive. They only selectively promote whatever they feel like they want to do. A lot of the time you've got to pay to play. And I do not recommend you pay to play unless you speak to an expert who does it on the daily basis, because you can chew through money so quickly, it is not funny, and get zero results. But they tell you, oh, you got 16,000 impressions. So what? I didn't get a sale and I've just spent $1,000. Who cares? So, you know, please go in small money or with an expert. Don't just automatically throw money at it. Throwing money at something does not guarantee a result. One person I met spent $15,000 on Google Ads. This was before AI came into the picture. She did not get one lead out of that $15,000. So, you know, this is real stuff. This happens, and I don't want any of you falling into these traps. The quality of content on social media, ebbs and wanes and quite often gets worse and worse and worse to try and attract viewers. The clickbait is increasing and people are spending less time online. There's a lot of people who don't watch the television anymore, so they just watch videos on their phone. So we need to be aware that the general landscape is changing. Now, in terms of online search results, we've still got Google, Bing, and Yahoo. And what their robots do is they go out, they look at the internet, they gather the information that they deem to be worthwhile, and they put that in their database. So when you do a search within Google, Bing, or Yahoo, you're getting results based on something they've already determined is worthwhile. So it's generally speaking reasonably accurate. And so we've all got used to doing Google searches and finding what we're looking for. You're more likely to appear in search results if you've got those extra references on your website. You've got an author identity, so all you have to do is put out one book with an ISBN code on it, and then you're known as an author, and then anything from that moment on you publish is given more credence because you are an author. But if you constantly put stuff on over time, it's going to help you, and people just use a few quick words to get a search query and boom, they're good to go. And it's reasonably scientific result. But the problem with AI is Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Claude, Perplexity, all sorts of different ones. What they've done is the robots have gone out onto the interwebs and found whatever they could robotically find. And they've put all of that junk into what's called a data set. So instead of assessing yay or nay, is this worthwhile adding? Oh no, they've just dumped the whole lot into the data set. So what we're relying on is the crap that has been put online since the internet came out, not all that valuable, useful data. And from that, the way they use that data, and when you get a result, it's worked on probability. So the example I like to use is if you typed in the cat sat on the, and you're using AI in your Word document to help you predict what you were going to write next, it would probably say the cat sat on the mat. But of course, if you're a writer, you're not going to say the cat sat on the mat. The cat could have been on the roof or the chair or the bed or the couch or, grandma's knitting. You're going to have something much more interesting than the cat sat on the mat. And so this is the problem with these results, is it's based on probability, not on accuracy. And they'll tell you, look, we're using large language models and we're using natural language processing and we're getting more accurate. But the reality is it's slightly wrong. Now, the slightly inappropriate example I use for this is I used to go to church on a pretty regular basis. And each week there's the lectionary. This is the little part of the Bible that the sermon would be based on this week. So the sermon this week is about this story from the Bible. Now, somehow the vicar would always be able to use that little lectionary reading to say whatever they wanted to with other justifications from various bits of the Bible. And this is how I think of dataset. And it's no criticism against religion. It's just how it's always possible to justify an argument with data somehow or another. So what we need to think about is if we keep adding beautiful information to this ridiculous, stupid data set, eventually we're going to get a better data set. This is my logic. And it will create a narrative answer and it will say, oh, and now that you've asked this question, Sue, would you also like to know that? And then we end up down the rabbit hole of believing our own stupid questions and what, the data is trying to tell us. So please be very, very discerning when you go down the AI path. I met a person who is intellectually extremely intelligent. And they had spent days, weeks, months, whatever, using AI to battle test this business idea. And then he came over to speak to me and asked me whether it would work. And I said, no, based on all my lived experience and technological use since 2001. And of course, I haven't heard from him since. So he wasn't too happy that I told him it was not going to work. But ironically, he hasn't gone ahead with what he was going to do. So I know that he did listen, thank goodness. But please do not just rely on AI. It's a bit dangerous. Goodreads is a good one too. Yes, love that. So exciting about it, I'm a writer because I've kept up regular long form contributions on Substack. Absolutely, Maggie, well done. Hardly any subscribers or friends, still few read. Doesn't matter. I love to write and I'm honing my skills and it gives you joy. There you go. And Jen's happy to connect with you on Substack as well. Yeah, it's a great proving ground, doesn't cost you anything to join. And what I do like about Substack is that it's an engaged audience. These are people who actually want to read content, which I think is a really lovely thing. And it's been around, I think 2017 or something. So it's not a Johnny come lately product. It's actually stood the test of time, which is also another good reason not to just jump onto the latest shiny object. Use a swear word in your search to prevent a generative AI no-click answer. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Well, yes, but then it might start giving me all my answers with swear words in it. So I'm not convinced that'd be the best option. But thank you for that comment. All right, so this is probably the slide that means the most to me, which is the only thing you own on the internet is your own website. And if you die and your kids don't keep paying for it, it's going to disappear. So I sort of think I want my content to be online for at least 3 years after my death. So I'm assuming I'm going to have to pay for 3 years up front and hope that my savvy daughter doesn't try and claim a refund once I've carked it. But anyway, I am copy pasting all of my content wherever I can to archive.org. Now, this is a conglomerate website paid by donations and benefactors. I believe it's based in the US. It was hacked and went down for a while. I nearly gasped. One of my clients, the only record of their website when their computer and website was hacked was on archive.org. So thank goodness they had something left on archive.org. I'm hopeful that I'll turn into the Maya Angelou of the world with my poetry. And, in 50 or 100 years' time, people will look back after I'm dead and buried and say, oh, Sue Ellson wrote some interesting things back in the 2000s. So, you never know your luck in a big city. It's my way of living beyond my lifetime. But basically, what I do is I publish content on my website, I share it on social media, and the essential ones I recommend are LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, plus anything that is relevant to your audience. So if your audience was mad on Instagram or TikTok, you would be on there as well. Selected online profile, so definitely recommend Google, Bing, and something related to your profession. And I'll be giving you some examples of these later. I also recommend that you list yourself on directory websites, so Google and Bing Business. I'll show you these white and yellow pages. They're less important now, but Google does still look at the content from those pages and any membership listings you have. So I'm on the Australian Society of Authors and Writers Victoria. And then any other selected websites you can go on. So if you get your audio book done through Dave, he puts a page on his website to promote you. That's a great page to be on because it's about your audiobook and it's your audiobook. It's kind of a nice arrangement. Anything that has a high domain authority, I'll be talking about my content on the Daily Mail website. Everybody says, Sue, are you nuts? Why would you want to be on the Daily Mail website? Well, it ranks, whether we like it or not. And of course, media. So I have got onto various media websites and it also helps rank my own website. And then, of course, I believe it's not what you know or who you know, but who or what finds you and how you can be verified. So we've already mentioned that Jen and I would love you to write us a review. You can write us a review on Google or Facebook, or I've got a page on my website, sueelson.com/reviews, and you can write reviews on there because this helps us be verified by the robots as well. So just keep all of these things in mind as part of the digital presence you're going to create to make sure that things work for you. And for some reason, my screen is just frozen. Right, we'll go back in and move along. Right. So, when we think about your content online, what's going to give you lifetime results, reasonable results on an ongoing basis, or some direct results because there's an audience there. So, lifetime results, if you get into mainstream media like the senior newspaper or the Daily Mail, most of the time they don't delete the content, so that's super cool. LinkedIn articles stay there forever, YouTube videos stay there forever, and archive.org content stays there forever. Obviously, as long as you're paying for your website, that's going to be there. If you're on Medium or Substack, I don't think those ones are going to disappear. So again, great place to publish or republish your content. Major websites, so Open Forum is in Australia, is a bit of a think tank and anyone can contribute to that. Or if you're an academic in a university setting, make sure you create your account on The Conversation whilst you're still in that academic institution so that you can publish there. It's a very reputable website and would rank well. And then there's, of course, specialist publications. So if you're a part of a professional association, you might go to conferences, you might be in their magazine, something like that. Now, audience results. So obviously, if I go onto TikTok and I produce dancing videos that everybody loves, obviously I'm going to get a lot more views on TikTok than I am on my website for doing dancing videos. By the way, folks, I'm not planning to do that, but it is an option. Quora. This is a place where you can answer questions. So if you just really dipping your toe in, trying to talk about your expertise and you want to be known for it, pop your answers on there, but please keep a copy of your answers because I spent 3 days doing this and then Quora deleted all my answers because I contravened some rule. So I'd had 160 something answers that I'd published and because they were all gone. So please always keep a copy of what you publish elsewhere so that if it gets deleted or removed, you've got a record. Obviously, if you're part of a membership association, join the committee, turn up at the events, don't just pay the money and pray for miracles. Get involved and you'll be amazed at the relationships you can build through that. And then directories and specific publications. So if you're a natural health therapist, I would definitely recommend you end up on natural therapy pages. Now, I know you have to pay for it, but every health practitioner is on natural therapy pages that's any good. And, that can be very worthwhile and set your business up. So what content is going to resonate today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? Anything that meets standard news criteria. So if you've published something that has quality references, is a new insight into a topic, is a good angle, has lots of beautiful pictures, and creates a conversation, any good journalist will say, yes, I'm interested in the story. But yes, any reader on the internet is also going to say this is going to be worthwhile. But if it's just Sue thinks that tabby cats are better than black and white cats, nobody cares that Sue thinks that those cats are better than the other cats. Like it's just not of interest. So make sure when you're writing, you bring something new, your weird perspective on something, and it could just be something really random. And I've loved keeping in touch with Julie because every time I send her something, she responds to me. And I've got this cabinet that I inherited from my grandmother, and I was worried I don't really want to keep it, but what do I do with it? Because I feel like I'm the custodian of this wretched cabinet. So then what I did is I decided I'd contact all my cousins and say, does anybody want it? And of course, nobody did. And so now I do not feel this commitment to my grandmother's cabinet. I've still got it, by the way. But thanks to Julie's encouragement and support, I knew I could go to her for some advice on what to do with this wretched cabinet. And that's what you get when you keep publishing this information. And Julie will often share ideas that she hears from her clients as stories in her publishing. It's terrific. Now, the other thing that is performing really well at the moment is short form video. I put myself off doing this for years and years and years. I didn't want to be on the camera, but I've relented. And last year I started putting a video out every Thursday, and boy, did my reach skyrocket. It made a huge, huge difference because people feel like they know you. It doesn't need to be polished. You need to shoot it in portrait form, not landscape, and make it less than 3 minutes. I prefer less than 1 minute because that was the original length of short form video. Nobody wants to watch a video for 3 minutes unless you're super fantastic or you're the diary of the CEO or something. So yeah, just stick to less than a minute, get something useful across, and you're good to go. And do it on a regular basis. And if you use any of the new features on a platform, they will also help you go out to the audience. So TikTok will bring in some new thing, and if you use that feature, the video will go further. Now, two things that I love on LinkedIn, which has stood the test of time, are one question polls, and you can also upload a PDF. So you save your little PowerPoint as a PDF and you upload it into LinkedIn, and it becomes a little carousel, and that creates lots of engagement, and that really works as well. So there's some quick tips on what works. Starts at 60. They also allow guest contributors. Fantastic. Thank you for that one, Jen. Use of AI, get a new from Dave Briss. ChatGPT, do not compliment me. Yes, thank you, Nicola. This, smart guy who told me, oh, I asked AI to test everything and give me the wrong answer. He did all that, but he still got the wrong answer. So please do not underestimate the value of lived experience. Yes, the technology is great, but if somebody's been doing something for a number of years, and I'll never forget this one client I got. He was a very leading psychiatrist. He scared me because he was appointed by the courts to decide which parent should get the kids. Ugh, I just felt sick when I spoke to that man. Anyway, he found me online. He brought me over to his highly secure residence in a Melbourne suburb because he'd received death threats. He interviewed me along with two of his colleagues, asked me every question he needed to know about LinkedIn to decide what he would publish, and courteously dismissed me after 45 minutes, and I never saw him again. But he got all of my 20 years of LinkedIn wisdom in 40 minutes done. And he knew that was all he had to pay, didn't have to waste his time, and he got the result he needed. And I thought, that is a very smart person. He gave me the creeps, but boy, he knew how to get what he needed in the quickest available time with the quickest expertise and get the damn job done and not waste his time battle testing anything. So, it was a big lesson for me. And I thought that's why he's got loads of money and lives in an expensive house, and why I'm just plodding away doing all the fabulous things that I enjoy doing and living a life without death threats. But anyway, I'm happy with my lot, put it that way. But, I know that if you're really out there to make the money, you pay the selected experts for that expertise. All right, now we're going to take a break very shortly and move into breakout rooms so you can chat with some other people or go and get a coffee or bathroom visit. But the number one thing all my clients have told me has been the most valuable thing I've done is help them create a usernames and passwords list. Because if you are going to be publishing content online, you are going to end up with so many logins and so many passwords, and you must not, absolutely must not, use the same password for everything. Because if you lose your data in a data breach, people will be able to log into every other account that you have. So it is absolutely not safe to do that. And some people tell me, Sue, you need to use a password manager and blah, 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 blah. Well, what happens if the password manager fails? And have you got a backup? And, blah, there's millions of reasons. So look, you're going to have to get out of those scraps next to your computer and your diary from 4 years ago and all those places and put all your logins in one spot. And at some point, you'll probably want to go through and close some of those accounts. You can create a free account at wordpress.com and you can start publishing this afternoon. It's as easy as that. and it's not going to cost you anything, and WordPress.com does not get deleted. So I recommend this for people who want to write a family history, and they're keen on it, but all the grandkids don't care two hoots. But in 50 years' time, the grandkids will care, and they'll be very grateful that Uncle Arthur put everything on WordPress.com. So consider that one. Consider buying one domain name, your own name first. You don't need the extra domain names. I buy my domain names from crazydomains.com.au, and I buy something called domain privacy, sometimes called domain guard. So there's only two things you need to buy, one domain name and domain name privacy. But they will try and sell you all these other things. Would you like website hosting? Would you like a directory listing? Would you like an extra domain name? Would you like this? Would you like a site guard? They're going to sell you 64 million other things. You do not need them. You only need the domain name and domain name privacy. And I do not recommend you have your hosting with the same company that has your domain name, because if you don't like them, you're stuck in that one organization. So as an ex-banker, I like to spread my risk. So I have gone to an Australian company who abides by Australian privacy rules, and I can ring them on the telephone and speak to a human, and I use the little old lady card. I'm terribly sorry, I can't work this out. I've looked at your instructions. Can you please help? And they do it for me for free, which is DDNS here in Melbourne. They're fantastic. And so I pay for my website hosting. It's only $100 a year to have my website there. It's Australian, secure, helpful. Oh my goodness, I can't recommend them highly enough. I do not get any bonuses, kickbacks from them, but I just love them. And I have been with international companies, and one guy who I swear just lived next to his computer was up at 3 o'clock in the morning every time I messaged him. And I thought one day he's going to die because he's awake, 24 hours a day. So I didn't feel comfortable using that hosting company. I thought it was too risky. So you do need a company that's been around a while. And yeah, I'm not suggesting you move, but definitely do recommend them. I've got some more things in the comment. I was at your January. Oh, Maggie's done her password list. Excellent. Well done. Congratulations. You deserve a gold star for that, Maggie. Well done. Passphrases. Yes, that's a great idea too, Jason. DDNS are great. Nicola's using them. Wonderful. And Jennifer uses Web Central, a little bit more expensive, but they're in Australia. Excellent. And hosting us. So great that we're getting some recommendations in the chat here as well. So the other thing that I recommend that you do is you Google yourself until you can Google no more, and find everywhere you are on the interwebs and put a list together. So that very intelligent person had been in business and went bankrupt. So when he was in business, all the journalists loved him and reported on all his fabulous achievements as an entrepreneur. And then when he went bankrupt, those same journalists wrote terrible articles about how, oh, this guy, he's fallen from the tree and here he is hopeless. So every time he Googled himself, he saw all those negative articles. So it was really hard for him to recover from bankruptcy because all he could see when he Googled himself was those negative articles. So what I did was I Googled him and I found all of his good articles, and I uploaded them into aboutme.google.com. So Google knew where all of his good stuff was. And so what happened was all of that started appearing in Google search results and people clicked on it. So all of his bad articles dropped down to page 2, and everybody says, where do you hide a dead body? On page 2 of Google search results, because nobody looks there. So that gave him the courage to start again. So it's a really powerful technique. Please go through and update all your online profiles, both on the phone and on the laptop or desktop, because there's different screens and boxes to fill in, depending on whether you're uploading in your phone or your laptop. And please create your own free account at archive.org so that when you copy paste all your links in there for your fabulous content, wherever it appears, there will be that one repository of all of that stuff. So now you can start thinking about what you will publish and where you might like to do it. So if it's on websites, search engines require you to have an about page, a contact page, a cookie consent page, and a privacy policy page. If it's in the media, they're going to want you to have multiple high-res photos, a short and long form bio, and some background information. If it's publishers, as in you want to publish on someone else's website, they're going to have editorial or submission guidelines, unwritten rules, pedantic gatekeepers, not like Amy Gardner at Seniors in Melbourne. She was terrific, but I've contacted some places and they make you jump through 64 hoops and still criticize you. So, you know, don't be put off by that. Influencers, some of them look so friendly and charming online, and then you reach out to them and you never hear from them, or they just give you some terse response. So don't assume what you see is what you get when you reach out to those people. And also just, remember to follow up a lot of time. And let me tell you, after being on the Daily Mail website, there are plenty of chair-based anonymous idiot critics out there on the interwebs. One person told me I looked like Matt Lucas. Another one said was my photo pre or post lobotomy. Horrid things. So you've got to be prepared to ignore that because it will happen when you do start putting yourself out there. I know this beautiful man in the UK, and he was on Facebook, but so many people criticised him, his friends and family, which you think would be supportive, that he deleted his Facebook account because it was just so painful. So, please do not be detracted by those idiots because, it's their own insecurities that's showing up. When I published the death poem about my mother, my sister kicked up a hissy fit, and that was her issue because there was nothing negative about my mother in that poem. But, I had to change it because she was anxious. And I did, but it, you've just got to be prepared for these things. So my mottos with my content are friendly, professional, solution focused, consistent quality, and courteous engagement. Even to the person who wrote a very rude comment on my post on LinkedIn recently about how, oh, you still feel like you were 10 years ago because you're still getting paid what you were 10 years ago. I thought, oh, that's a bit rude. But, I just took it on the chin and thought, oh, well, I'm happy with my lot. And sometimes no matter how much money you get, you're not happy. So, I didn't worry about it. So I just move on. So here's where I'm just going to randomly allocate you to a breakout room. You can join and chat with whoever's in the room. Jen and I will be in separate rooms. So when you see the little option to join, you can press the button and join the room. We'll try and put about 4 people in a room, assign automatically. And if you'd like to join, chat with the other people for 5 minutes. When I close the breakout room, you'll see a little 60-second clock, and then that will give you 60 seconds and you'll automatically bump back in to the main room. So we'll open all the rooms now and make sure Jen and I are not in the same one, which it looks like we're not. So enjoy your chat.
That one you go to it first. Yeah, that one you go to it that one first. So you're having.
I'm just keeping an eye on making sure there's at least 2 people in each room. Right. Jason's on his own. I'll just move him into room 2.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, how's it going?
Hess has gone to get a coffee,
Oh, good. Okay.
and Jason's on mute, so I'm not sure if he can hear us or not.
Yeah, Jason was in a room on his own, so I just swapped him over to this room, so he might be coming back. What's been most helpful to you so far?
Oh, look, it's just everything, and I'm so busy, and I should, after being to one of your seminars, I should, get onto things. But I'm absolutely flat out at the moment, and I started uni.
Oh my goodness, just to add something else into the mix.
To improve my writing, I'm doing a grad cert in creative writing through Curtin University,
Uh-huh.
which my daughter said, "Have you got time to do that?" And I said, "No, I don't." But I really want to improve my writing. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, good on you. Well,
But,
Jason's just said he's limited to text chat, so
oh, okay.
feel free to say something, Jason, and we can make a comment, or if you'd like to make a comment, you're most welcome to. Yeah. And all right, well, you're definitely going to need a plan if you're going
Yes,
to
I
move
do.
forward with things.
So I really want to get and I've got 3 domain names with crazy domains, but I've got .com, .com.au and .au, and I just can't work out which one I should choose. But you're saying it doesn't really matter.
No, but I'd probably go with .com because that's considered the high level
Universal.
domain one. So
Okay.
I'd,
Yeah.
I'd I'd delete the other two. Yeah,
Yeah.
or not renew them at
Yeah.
least. So, yeah,
Yeah.
no need to pay for that.
Yeah. All right. That's a good answer, and that's helped me. Look, there you go. I can check one thing off my
Yeah,
list.
and save some money when the bill comes around next time. So
Yes,
yeah,
and it's not a lot. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm learning. I'm with the Society of Women Writers, and
good.
I'm on the committee because I put my hand up to assist the webmaster.
Yep.
So I'm learning, and it's WordPress.
Oh,
So
good.
that's good. And I've just on another committee, and we're going to start up a website, and it'll be WordPress as well. Like I've got a Melbourne person,
Yep.
Discman.net, who's been doing it. He does the Footy Almanac and a lot of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
So he's done their stuff for years. So I did my homework on
Good.
who we could use for this committee. So I'll be getting a lot more experience that way too.
Good.
But I do want to set up my own business, just helping people write their family histories, because I'm basically a genealogist now with all the stuff I've done with Society of Australian Genealogists. And I was on a webinar, and someone said, find your lane. And I thought, well, my lane's writing. So
Ah,
what I really want to do is set up a business to help people just put a little book together. I've got a publisher, like a printer in a town quite nearby who's done work
yep.
for our writers group. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got prices from them, and I've got ideas, and I've got I reckon I've got it sewn up because I've got the genealogy side if people need help with that. I'm a writer, and I've got a background in HR, so I can manage expectations and family
Yeah.
feuds when it comes to what goes in the book, because that'll happen. That will happen.
Oh, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And I must say I was very impressed with the Society of Women Writers website because they actually give each writer a profile page.
Yes, and
And
and I update that. That's one of my jobs, learning how to
yeah,
do the web, how to manage it all. And my job at the moment is uploading all those member
yeah,
books as well,
details.
because they can
Oh,
put their
great.
publications up.
Yeah, because you used to have that on ASA and you used to have your own URL, which would rank. So if somebody Googled me, my ASA profile would come up.
Yeah,
But of course it doesn't now because I'm just in some scrambled list and I haven't got one lead whatsoever. And
yeah,
I've chipped them about it and they won't do anything. Oh, we're not here to help you appear in Google search results. I'm saying no. If I appear in Google search results, it promotes the Australian Society of Authors. Like,
yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
So yeah, I very nearly joined. So you might still see me as a future member
Oh, that would be
because
great.
I see it as just tremendously valuable
Yeah.
to writers to have
Yeah,
that.
and and they're terrific to hang out with. And I'm a member of Writers Victoria, and I'm actually the ambassador for the Goulburn Valley for Writers Victoria, which is like a
cool.
free,
Yeah,
it's an honorary position. But they lost all their funding. Their next lot of funding with the Creative Victoria has wiped
yes,
funding.
they have. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. We've got to vote for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
so it's going to be interesting.
Cass says she's back from the coffee machine.
Yes, she
Talk to
is.
us, Cassie. Cass.
Oh, hi.
What's
Coffee is my
been,
central.
well, I'm glad you got it. What's been most helpful to you from today so far?
It's all been good. At the moment, I'm
Right.
doing a PhD by creative practice. So obviously more looking at my art, art as activism,
Yes.
propaganda type art,
Hmm.
and the PhD in exegesis that goes along with that.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking towards the future, not just, publishing journal articles, but I actually
Hmm.
want to publish an art book,
Yeah.
like coffee table type book,
Yeah.
with my research. And yeah, so just getting ideas. And I also want to have an interactive exhibition
Oh,
on a
cool.
website.
Yep.
So not just the in-person exhibition. So
Yep.
I have been trying to research hosting and web addresses and things like that in domains.
Good.
So all that advice was really good because
Yeah, just do it under your
I'm
own
a
name. Yeah, really the
yeah,
simplest way to do it. It really is. And you'll never lose the value of it. So even if you have
yeah,
XYZ gallery going forward, and you combine with other artists, that'll be fine. You can still rank that as well. But yeah,
yeah,
having your own website is really valuable. I'm going to have to
yeah. The
close all
biggest,
the, yeah, go on.
sorry. Oh, I was just going to say the biggest issue I have because I currently uh, my real job is in
Hmm.
defence,
Yep.
and we have an issue. If we work in national security, we cannot be on LinkedIn.
No.
No. So
But
it's been compromised.
what you can do is you can have a LinkedIn profile and you can choose hibernate the account.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
because what I don't want you to do is leave defense and have no network.
Yeah.
So
It
if
is
you,
really annoying with regards to my research, not having LinkedIn.
yeah. So if you hibernate it, nobody will be able to see it.
Okay.
And that should be, protection enough as far as the government's concerned. Yeah. So it means you don't have to
Yep.
close it. Yeah. Anyway, I've got to get
Yep.
back
Okay.
because we've got to hear from Jen today. We've still got heaps more to get through. So I thought 2 hours would be plenty of time, but we're chewing through it super fast. So yeah, we'll definitely have to keep moving. Leave broke out. All right, welcome back, everyone. I trust you've been enjoying those little chats with your fellow participants, and I think I've underestimated how long this content would take to get through today, and I've really enjoyed the chats that we've had with some other participants there as well, particularly with Jen, Dave, and Julie. It's fantastic to have you there. But I will move on to the slides so that you can hear from Jen because she's got some really great stuff to share with you as well. I'll just make sure that you're definitely seeing my screen because we want to make sure that that is available. So share screen. And yeah, keep the chat going. If you want to keep talking to one another in the chat, that's perfectly fine. If you want to connect with one another in the chat, more than happy for you to do that as well. All right. So these are the essential locations you should be on: Google, Bing, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Recommended locations that as your own name website, your preferred social media, your professional association profile, and your directory listings. And then your alternative locations are your digital publishing platforms, any publishers that you contribute to, niche publications, websites, traditional media, and larger ones, automatic content distribution or collection platforms. That's like your Substack and your Medium, and then any direct networking you can do. All of these are listed on the online publishing options link. And I was going to go through all of those links. We might do that at the end because I do want to pass over to Jen. This is a little short summary that you can read through about the value of LinkedIn, YouTube, Medium, Substack, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, The Conversation, Open Forum, professional association websites, niche ones, and traditional media ones. And if you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can scan this QR code. If you'd like to connect with Jennifer on LinkedIn, you can scan that QR code. So you've all got the slides. If you want to do that now, you can, or if you want to do it later, feel free to do so. We'd love to hear from you. Now, when you scan the code for me, you'll see a blue follow button. Don't press the follow button, press the 3 dots next to it, and then you can choose connect. And that will enable you to connect with me. So what is my model, my methodology? Be clear about what you'd like to publish. Decide where you're going to publish it. Once you've got it published, put a link on your website. I was published here, and put a link to it. You can't reproduce it because the copyright belongs to whoever published it, but you can link to it. Now, I do have permission from 3AW Radio in Melbourne to republish my interviews on 3AW Radio, so I do republish those, but other content that is published elsewhere, I cannot reproduce it on my own website. And then what I do is I share whatever I've had published out through my social media profiles as well. Keeping an online index is vital so that when the robots come in and look at your website, it goes out and sees where else you've been published. And obviously put that link on archive.org. And if people do message you through comments, direct messages, emails, phone calls, please, please, please try and respond as quickly as possible. The platforms are checking that to determine whether you're a good person. Now, this guy here, Darby Hudson, is a poet based in Melbourne who makes money out of his writing. So I do want to share his details. I want to share Trisha's details. She started publishing a daily video on TikTok 12 months ago, and she's a psychotherapist here in Melbourne. It's not what I would do, but it's somebody you can check out and decide whether that's something you would like to do if you've got video content you would like to share online. Laurie is a star. Laurie came to me via Dave Stokes because he had done his audiobook through Dave, but he didn't know where to start with promoting his audiobook and his 3 other books. So Laurie came to me. We've sat down, we've updated everything, we've created a new website, we've updated all of his social media profiles. I've now taught him how to put out a quote and a magic minute video, quote on a Monday, magic minute video on a Thursday, every week. He does it all himself. He is about to turn 80. And I am so proud of Laurie. When I've been working with him, we've video recorded the sessions, so he watches the video over and over and over again, and he does it. Reach out to Laurie. He is an absolute gem. He is friendly. He's professional. He's encouraging. I call him my Clayton's father, just like my next door neighbour is my Clayton's husband. For anybody who remember the 1980s, there was this drink called Clayton's, the drink you're having when you're not having a drink. Well, Laurie is like my Clayton's father. He is sensational. I highly recommend you follow him on all your channels. Nigel Rawlins has a podcast for people over the age of 60 who are making this transition to doing their own thing. And he's looking for guests. And, reach out to Nigel. He's super friendly. He's based in regional Victoria. He has multiple websites, which I don't recommend, but he does marketing and stuff. And, he's really good value. Got lots of great stuff on his podcast. Darren Royals is the original Melbourne blogger. He's been doing this longer than any of us. And he's got all the tips, lots of great information on his own name website and on his pro blogger website. And of course, there's heaps of stuff on my website. If you would like professional services, you can either pay by the hour. Last night I put up some packages on my website because everybody told me I should have packages. So that's now on my website. You can check those out. But now we're over to Jen. So fire away, Jen, and tell me when you'd like to change the slide and we will continue on.
Okay, thank you. So this little example here is an ebook I published a year ago, and it was just something I did in my spare time. So I thought maybe some of you could relate. I was looking up, looking for the most asked questions that people have regarding prosperity. I even got one off the television that they were talking to interviewing Dave Gow, which is a money expert. And so they brought up one of them as well. So it didn't take long to produce the answers. I was just sort of riffing on what I've learned over the years when I'm delving into the money topics, and also my own little stories. It was fun to do. I made some pictures for the inside as well, which was also fun. And published that to KDP, in other words, Kindle Direct Publishing. I didn't bother with the whole going wide thing because it was just a sort of a hobby project, that one, not a broader one like my personal brand, which I wanted to get out there more. So I could tick Kindle Select, and I could offer people a free 5-day, or in this case, I think I did the countdown special. Certain marketing tools you can use when you click Kindle Select. And Kindle Select means it also goes into the unlimited pool. So if people do like reading ebooks, and they do like to read your genre, and they find out about it, then they can have a look at those and have a look at and read some pages, and then you get paid a certain amount of cents per page, which is very low, gotta say.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I think I might actually book some time with you, because I've filled in boxes and I don't know what I was saying yes or no to many times, both with registering my ISBN as well as Kindle. So yeah, great that you know what
takes
boxes
time
to do.
To learn all the things, and I still feel that I'm not 100% on every aspect. Obviously, that is because you can't directly ask somebody.
No, that's right.
So you have to find out through experiments sometimes. Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah, so like what I want to say is I thought about the name. The title means a lot. So that is because I wanted to represent what it is, plus what people actually search for, which is what it does. And I made an EPUB with Calibre. Anyway, moving
Is that
over.
a paid platform or free?
That one is a free software. Don't really recommend it for a beginner, but I had to sort out some trouble with the final output that I could not get through draft to digital when I did try that. I just left it for a bit. But the ChatGPT helped me through what was wrong with the code. I would not recommend doing that. It's okay.
And can you create an EPUB on drafts to digital, because that gives you a distribution network as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. You can upload it. So it's best to have your EPUB all ready to go then. So you've already made it. You've checked it. You've done the EPUB check, it's called.
Right, got you. Okay.
Yeah. Calibre will help you check it. And there's many other tools that are probably much better, but you pay for those, and so it's up to them.
Yeah.
So this is an example of what comes up on Google when I type my title. Yeah. So this is kind of like, it actually worked for me this time. This is what you should expect to see if you have a title that's quite unique. I was going for that uniqueness thing. Yeah. A lot of people will choose the same titles for books, and they haven't even researched Amazon for that title, which is a mistake. You've got to research it. Yeah. How many other people are going to be coming up before you if your friend who knows the title, they can't even find it when they know it. That's not what you want. You want something that's a little bit easier to find. So whether it's a different word or a different kind of a way to say it, and you'll see it does the AI thing. But anyway.
Yeah, I've got an interesting story on that, because my books are 120 Ways To, and there's a book called 120 Ways to Annoy Your Mother. I just happened to find that when I did a search later,
That's
and
hilarious.
it is
Yes.
it is funny because that's not what my books are about.
So uniqueness is very tricky to do. So this is not like normal. Usually
No.
there's a mixture of things when you have a ranking.
Good.
Anyway. So how I launched it, simple things. So taking a picture of myself with a book is how I launch paperback books, not so much ebooks because you don't have that picture. I often do, so that one is a hybrid of a photo and like a call out for what they're going to learn inside. And I create that on Canva, which makes it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they do see that story, they might be curious enough to click the link, if you put the link in the story.
Yeah.
You can also do a reel if you're talking for a minute, like I said, about what's something that's in it, a fact that could be interesting. And I also changed my Facebook profile about a year ago to professional so that I could launch books more easily and put out content, and I know the insights at the back of it. So normally your personal profile, it doesn't really give you any insight into what's happening, but with the professional mode on, it does.
And is that professional page or professional personal profile?
It is a profile. It is a personal profile.
Oh, right.
But you change it at the background and the settings.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, clever people monetize it, but I'm not even trying for that.
That's okay. All good.
Yeah, so you know what stories are. They're the small little ones that way around. Yeah, so you've got to have the same way up and match the font color to the book cover. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that one. Thanks. Yeah. So what I can do is I should have started with the cheap one. That's number 3. The book coaching to feel more confident to outline and write a commercial book. I'll give you the first session, it's $170, and it's about an hour and a quarter, and we'll give you a bunch of notes to go on with and some inspiration to go away and research the target reader. Yeah. So a lot of people start with their idea, but they haven't really thought about it commercially, and they haven't researched which target reader they're really aiming for. So something I look at.
And an interesting thing I had with my daughter once, she was going to go down the path of sorting out a natural therapist, and she found someone on Instagram and they sold her or gave her the idea that there was this $3,000 package and supplements would be extra. And she was all ready to buy it, like she'd been sold on the $3,000 thing. And I said to her, but if you just paid by the hour, could you just work out what would be helpful to you? And you wouldn't spend $3,000, that's a lot of one-on-one appointments. Do you find that there's many people who prefer a package or prefer the hourly, or is it a mix?
Well, I didn't used to offer that first session thing, and I had a program for 6 months or so. But I find it's better because although some people are just they really want help, and they really want the accountability to get them to the end, which that's fine. It's all good. But in a first session, you get to know each other, and I can tell whether that person will be able to write their book or not. So it also goes both ways.
Yes.
It's good to know whether your coach is capable of helping you. And at the same time, it's good to know for me whether they are committed to the idea and the application of writing a book, because it's a lot harder than one thinks at the beginning.
It is, yeah. And sometimes if you put a dollar figure to it, you can be more committed. I know another person, when they joined this gym program, and if they lost the weight within the 9 weeks, they got the money back. So they were really committed to making sure they got their outcome in the 9 weeks. I mean, they put it on afterwards, but yeah, I thought that was a really interesting way of dealing with it.
Yeah, it's like everyone,
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And all that.
Yeah. Any other comments you would like to add from what we've discussed today?
I'm not sure if anyone knows, but that but there's a whole set of marketing things you need to do in the lead up to launching any kind of product. And I look at the book as a product. So in my setup as a micro publisher book, I've actually mapped out what you need to do in 3 months before launch, at launch that month, and also after launch, just a little, consistency, dribble, drabble of marketing things, so that you actually know that there's little activities to do, because I find so many people will maybe get busy around the launch, but then they will think they're going to come back to it and they never do, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, they sort of have to put it into their schedule.
Yeah, that's good. And the good thing is with your ISBN, you can register that way before you start publishing. So you can actually, start all the marketing before the launch date. So it's really helpful.
With an ISBN, a title, and perhaps even a mocked up cover, you can start talking about it.
And the way I got 3 books done in 9 months was I set book launch dates. So, the book had to be at the book launch. So I had to stop editing and stop fussing at some point, because this book launch date was going to happen regardless. So I had to do it. So it was a really interesting way.
Yeah.
It was a bit stressful, I will say.
Could be, yeah. I'd always allow at least 2 extra weeks at the end of your production, because sometimes things go wrong with the proof copy. And if you need to get that little thing done again, it's going to take another 2 weeks. You don't want 100 copies to show up at your launch that have a line or 2 missing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was so late with one of them. I drove out to Ingram Spark and picked them up from the printers,
lucky you.
I was lucky, because they refused to do it now, but they did allow me to do it at that time.
Right. Yes. Well, I had a Sydney client who was launching a book with people in person, and he had 100 copies ordered, and half of them went missing on the way, and I luckily had the phone number of the factory, and I could ring them up and say, hey, what's happened to the delivery? But they don't publish that number online.
No. And 2 weeks it's a really good suggestion. Cass has also mentioned the National Library of Australia will also have a copy of your books with ISBNs. Yes, if you create a book in Australia, there's a thing called legal deposit, and you must submit a copy to both your National Library in Canberra as well as your state library in your state. Please remember to do that. So here's all the fabulous things we've covered today. I'm sure you've got maximum value out of your 2 hours. Please take time to write a Google review or a Facebook review or an online review on my website or Facebook review for Jen. We'd love to see those. The next event that I'm hosting is during National Careers Week, and anybody can create an event and put it on during National Careers Week and get free publicity on the careersweek.com.au website. So if you want to have an event during that week, you can get some free promotion out of it. I don't think it gets me a huge number of registrations, but it's still another link on a reputable website. So I'm doing that. You can check out this recording and plenty of others on the webinars and recordings page. But what I'm going to do now, before we go to questions, is I'm just going to go through some of the links that I mentioned on the slides. So that's the post I put out this week talking about how my stats had changed. And it just shows you the layout. It hasn't done as well as my other posts, but it's just an example. This is Google Business. So as an author, when you have an ISBN, you automatically get an author page on Google. But I still recommend that you go to business.google.com and you create one in your own name and you fill in all the details. I also recommend that you go into the back end of your Google account, and in this section called About, there's links, profile links, and contributor links. So when you've got your usernames and passwords list, that would give a list of all the links where you've got passwords. But if you create a spreadsheet with all of your other links, you can add them into the back end here. So this is how I help that bankrupt person get good results in Google instead of bad results. So this is a way of telling Google directly, if somebody's Googling Sue Ellson, you know, go to all of these links because this is where Sue is on the interwebs. Bing offers something similar. So anybody with a Microsoft computer will automatically have Bing as their search engine. Bing is also used, the search data, in ChatGPT because OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, Microsoft owns 27% of ChatGPT. So you want to get results in Bing so that you can also get results in AI. I've also put on Microsoft Clarity, which is the Google version or Microsoft version of Google Analytics. So I'm also telling Microsoft all about my website and my content by using the Microsoft Clarity plugin on the back end of my WordPress website. Here's my YouTube channel. And what you can do here is you can customize your YouTube channel and you can put in all the links to your other profiles in here as well. So YouTube is owned by Google. So obviously joining all these dots helps the dumb robots as well. Obviously, you can check out my website and see the structure, replicate anything that you think's relevant. I've also got my Google reviews appearing on the bottom of every page of my website now with a little plugin. And then I link to where they are as well. You know, do lots of little things that you can borrow ideas off of. Feel free, again, when you visit my LinkedIn profile, to press the three dots and choose Connect. And you can use it as an example of an author profile. I'm a member of the Career Development Association of Australia. So when you do have a profile page on a membership website, please, for goodness sake, fill it in or let the web developer know what is supposed to be on there and make sure you give them all that data to update it. You can create a free pages at Yellow Pages Online. They will ring you and try and sell you advertising. Do not purchase it. It is not worth it. Just say, I just like the free listing, because for each phone number, you get a website link and it is free and it's a high ranking website. My books, if you would like to download them for free, you can find them on ResearchGate. And I did this so that they last forever and also so that anybody attending my webinars can get free access to my books. And the benefit of it is that I get to see how many reads they've got. I don't know where it is, somewhere in here it tells me 4,000 reads or something. And I like to know that 4,000 people have read my books. So that's the benefit of publishing them for free. I turned that on when COVID hit because I wanted to help people with my content. This is my Medium profile, and you have to get 100 followers to be able to earn money out of Medium. So I asked all my friends to follow me. I get 24 cents and 36 cents occasionally from my content on Medium. So you can monetize it, but again, I don't actively use it. But if I publish something on here, it's different to what I've published somewhere else because Google does not want to see duplicate content. Here's my Substack profile. So what I'm doing at the moment is everything I put on my website, I also share on Substack. This is Reddit, which I created 9 years ago or something or another, and haven't done anything with it since. But for the diehards, there's people on Reddit, so I figured, oh, well, I'll put a profile on there. This is my Quora profile where they deleted all my answers, but again, I need to do some updating. I haven't updated my photo, but occasionally, if I feel like it, I can go in there and answer questions. This is the Conversation website, suitable for academics. This is the Daily Mail list of articles I've had published. So I've had 70 pieces of content on the Daily Mail website. So this page of my website links to all of those. So when the robots come in and look, it says, oh my goodness, she's had 70 pieces of content on the Daily Mail website. This is a list of all my publications. So I'm Googling myself all the time to find out where I've been published, and I add them to my list of publications. I also had to develop a media kit because I am quoted in the media quite a lot. So this means it's ready and available for any journalists who need it. This is the Thorpe Bowker login. So if you want to create an ISBN, you go to myidentifiers.com.au. It is a good idea to buy 10 to begin with, and because you will use them up, pardon me, because every edition of your book, your audio book, your digital book, your paperback book, each one requires a separate ISBN number. So you will go through those 10 fairly quickly. Also, this is, if you Google Sue Ellson author, this is the Google identity that is created when you become an author. If you are a journalist or you publish content frequently, you can create a profile on Muckrack, which I've done, and I filled in some boxes there. So when I'm speaking to journalists, you know, they might look for me on Muckrack. So there's that. And I've also subscribed to Sourcebottle. And so this is when journalists put call outs and they want to find somebody who can talk to X topic. So I get an email once or twice a day and with a list of inquiries that journalists have. And if I respond to that, I've been able to pick up stories and content by submitting that. And they give you a profile page as well. So make sure you fill that in. That's all free. Google Advanced Search. This is what I do every 24 hours. I do this. I type in Sue Ellson in quotation marks and I say anytime in the last 24 hours and I look to see where I've been published. And that's an article I wrote many years ago on Tiny Buddha, but maybe somebody's edited it. So now it's appeared in search results. Now I know that I've published that, so I don't have to add it to my list of publications. But once you do start publishing content, I'm always trying to find out where else I have been published. This is the article I wrote on online publishing options, which goes through, you know, all of those recommended locations in details. And oh, that's just my login for Zoom, so you don't need that one. So all of those links were on the slides. So if we go back to the slides, it's this page here. So yeah, you can check out any of those as you wish in your own time. So I'm going to look in the chat for some questions and open the floor up because I do want to respect everybody's time. Cindy, what are the options with the number of books to go to first print? Is there a guide? Yes, as Jennifer says, if it's print on demand, you can pick 20 or 50 or 100 or whatever. Please don't pick 150. You know, it's really hard to get rid of books. But somebody told me once, books have thud value because when you pick up a book and you go, and it goes on the table, it's thud value. And it's a really good thing to give out to clients as a way to remember you because they don't want to throw a book away. It feels a bit awkward to throw a book away. So then they'll remember that you exist. So it can be a really good thing to give out to clients. So yeah, assume a minimum of $10 a copy, you know, is what you're going to be doing. My writers group uses a local printer. Yes, that could be really good for like family histories and things like that, which don't necessarily have an ISBN. Yeah, much cheaper than just going to like a printing place, as a, you know, one of those automatic printing places, or the photo book prints. You know, they're very expensive if you're going to do a photo book print. How do you handle when someone has taken your content images or website and linked to it, their own website, without your permission? Cindy, I have stopped worrying about who pinches my stuff a very long time ago. And you know what? I'm quite happy for them to pinch it because I'm always updating it. So if you are silly enough to copy all my slides and use them in your presentation and all the screenshots are different, well, good luck to you. I just do not worry about it. Because I've been online since 2001, I know that the only way to get an audience is to publish. So if you hold back thinking, I don't want to publish because someone's going to pinch it, you won't publish. So I've just gone down the post, well, I'll publish it and then I'll publish again and then I'll publish something else. And so there'll be more and more stuff. So that's the way I handle it. How do you prevent someone from using your artworks? Oh my goodness. This is really tough, Sue. Because, you know, people use my posts and Instagram, they don't even mention me. That's why I've got to do the Google Advanced Search to find out where it is. So I try and think of it as flattery and try not to worry about it too much. But if it's the way you earn a living, it's really disappointing. So the perfect thing to do is to get someone else to call it out. Get your best friend to contact them and say, you do realize you've stolen it. Like one of my poems is on a t-shirt and people are selling t-shirts with my poem on it. Like, really? Okay, whatever. So anyway, look, somebody said to me, when you go to all these business events, oh, Sue, that's your IP. You should put a trademark on it. Well, okay, so how much does it cost to put a trademark? $15,000. How many products do I have to sell to make my money back? And then if some foreign country makes a copy of my product and I have to sue them, how am I going to have the money to sue them? Just make another product and just be one step ahead, because imitators don't last. They all disappear eventually. So in the early days, I had newcomersnetwork.com and newcomersnetwork.com.au. And because the interwebs changed and Google came along, nobody types in newcomersnetwork.com.au anymore. It's just nobody does it. They just type in Newcomers Network and go to the search result, right? So I decided to stop paying for .com.au. And then one day I'm teaching at the CAE and I put up newcomersnetwork.com.au, and guess what should be on my website? Adult sex toys on my old domain name. And I was horrified. I'm thinking, oh my God, I've just put adult sex toys in front of my students. This is a terrible thing to do. Lucky they were all adults. And I could just laugh it off. And yes, it is funny, Robin. Anyway, a little while later, I checked newcomersnetwork.com.au and they'd vanished. Because, of course, just because the domain name was old doesn't mean it had traffic. So, even though my daughter's lost her website, the casino is not going to be making money off her website because it doesn't have traffic. So they can try and extort $2,000 out of her to buy it back. But if she just waits till September next year, I guarantee you she'll be able to get it back then and not have to pay. And she's learned her lesson. Pay for your renewals. Don't lose track of that. Identity theft. Okay. Yes, there is a very real chance that my identity can be stolen, because when you have an ABN, you have to give your street address out. I mean, how stupid is that? And you cannot not publish it publicly. I mean, it's disgusting. And particularly for women, it's dangerous. But what you'll notice is I always wear high neck garments. I'm always covered up. I'm not got a low top and a short skirt and dancing inappropriately. And everything I do is professional and solution focused. And as an ex-banker, I have passwords list, yes, but my banking password is only in my head. It's nowhere else. And I check my bank app every couple of days. And if anything is ever suspicious, I'm on it. I remember watching this SBS movie late one night, and a guy rocked up to this small village in Europe somewhere and rocked up to the police station with a gun and told me, where does George live? And they said, I'm not going to tell you. So the guy put the gun to the cop's head. And so the cop looked up the address for George in that town, and then he still got shot. And I looked at that movie and I thought, you know what? If somebody really, 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 really wants to steal my identity, they're going to find a way. They're going to know someone who knows someone who knows someone who they can pay off and steal my identity. So yes, I have two-factor authentication on all my main accounts. No, my password's not written anywhere. Yes, I have backups. I just have to carry on. It's the world we live in. Yeah. Also, the internet knows when the content was first published. So you will always be the first publisher of your content. So, that's another beauty of publishing it on your own website first. We have people using with a link that goes to their website, not his. Yeah. You're going to have to follow that up directly with them, Cindy, and tell them, please cease and desist, and send a letter or something, like it's not right. It shouldn't be done. Jennifer, have you got any other comments on that?
No, not really. It's just more of a you can't, if it's a really big business you're running, then a legal letter might be good.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, look, I've stopped worrying about it. I just keep publishing more content because, you know, they run out of ideas, and consistency over time is what's going to do. I have a block on my credit rating with Equifax as I was caught up in breaches. Oh, that's a good idea. I had to take the block off if I want to take out a loan, but it protects me from someone trying to borrow money in my name. Robin, that is an excellent suggestion. I love it. That is a really, really good idea. Yes. Thank you.
A lot
Great
of people
insight.
do worry about their book title being ripped off, but unfortunately, you can't copyright the book title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if someone tries to say, "Oh, you stole my title,"
Mm.
well, too bad, how sad. There's
Yeah, yeah,
nothing you
yeah.
can
That's
do.
right. And the other thing is too that you know, there'll be some influencer who's got 1,000 views, you know, all the time, blah, blah, blah. And then they stop publishing and they die off overnight, you know. So you just got to keep showing up. And I still believe, and this is why I'm doing a lot more of this. I'm going to Canberra on the 19th of February, and I'm going to be running a little LinkedIn update at the National Museum Cafe Friday morning, the 20th. So, anybody who's here from Canberra or knows someone in Canberra wants to join me, I'm paying for the coffee, the first coffee. So, they're most welcome to join me. Um, I still meet people in person because all the tech in the world is not going to save us. If we do not have relationships, we are screwed. And one of the best relationships I have is with Suzanne Dunlop, who is here today. And she is a lifeline for me. And I wouldn't have got anywhere near where I've got without her support. So, you know, this is what we need. We need relationships, not just tech, because tech fails on a regular basis. But it can also get our message out much wider. Hmm. It's 12 o'clock, so if you need to leave, feel free to go. Please don't forget to do the exit survey. If there's anybody who wants to make any comments, ask any questions, Jen and I are happy to stay here until you've exhausted our brains. So please fire away. Ian, you've unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to share? Or did you just accidentally do that? No? That was a fabulous workshop. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Good. Maggie, would you like to share something compared to what it was in person, compared to what it was online? Very different experience.
Hi, everybody. I apologize that I can't show myself on video because something weird's happening with the screen today.
All good.
I found in person, you know, and so having met you in person was really
Yeah.
great. So seeing you today on the screen, I feel like I already have a personal relationship, so that's very nice.
Good.
But I do like webinars. So, but yeah, the personal thing is great. It was great hearing some content over again, because you and of course Jennifer very generously share a huge amount in quite a short time. And because I did do some of the homework last time, it meant that I'm getting more of a grip on a very large volume below the tip of the iceberg. And yeah, so following this, I will do a bit more homework and develop things a bit further. But basically, your first lecture triggered a new, you know, extension of the path for me. And it was really nice to have a bit more
Detail?
extra depth today. Yeah, lost for words.
Perfect. Yeah, no,
Thank you
that's
very much.
perfect. Thank you. And thank you for that feedback. And really good that you did your homework. Like one thing to show up, something else to actually, you know, pick three things and do that within the next 3 days. That will be the biggest test of whether or not you will get results from today's webinar. So yeah, really, really worthwhile.
And I did my review. I did
and
my
you did a
review.
review too. Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
because yeah, it's the quid pro quo, and to show my appreciation because it's really valuable. Thank you.
Yeah, well, Jen and I have spent many hours putting this together.
Yeah.
Jen battling the PowerPoint and the format that I had, and me just, you know, compiling more stuff because as a result of the feedback I got from the first webinar, first event, I've added more. I'm also planning to run this as a 3-hour workshop at the CAE going forward too. So watch out for that. I hope it gets scheduled. If it does, I will let everyone know that it's on. And yeah, because there's something beautiful about doing it with other people and getting extra insights. And I love that Equifax tip so that loans don't go out in your name. That is such a great idea. Yeah, cool. Any other questions or comments? Do I do a regular podcast? No, I have been on a number of podcasts. So if you go to sueellson.com/podcasts, you'll see my appearances on podcasts. Last year I got a bit of a bee in my bonnet and thought, oh yeah, I'll create a poems and poetry podcast. And then life got in the way, and 12 months I had done nothing. So I'd bought a domain name, I'd created Instagram and YouTube accounts, la la la. And I thought, you know what? I haven't started it. I'm going to delete the whole lot. Julie, you would be proud of me. So it was just going to be too hard. And I just did not have the bandwidth and the capacity to do that on top of everything else. So I said, I'll just appear on other people's podcasts. Now, what I do is every poem I put on audio. So all my audio files are on one page. And what you can actually do if you want to start a podcast, you don't need anything expensive. You can just do YouTube videos. And there's a section on YouTube now called podcasts, and you just call it your podcast. And voila, you've done a podcast. So, you know, you can start. Please, please, please don't go all out to start. Just start with the smallest possible version, the minimum viable product, and move on from there. Because if you wait until it's perfect, and here's a really scary fact. I spoke to a person I know whose podcast I've been on. That person spent $70,000 creating that podcast. Guess how much business they've got out of it? And they tell me they don't regret spending the money. And I'm thinking, okay, that was ego. That was not anything else. That was $70,000 to have your own podcast. Like, what a waste. You've got to think about, why are you doing this? What is your motivation? You know, Julie has a business that she needs to keep running. Robin's a writer and wants to share writing. Jen likes writing too and coaching people. You know, we've got to think, why are we doing this and what is going to help that happen? And starting off with the 0 budget items first and building up over time.
Well, I believe in guesting on podcasts because then someone else does all the hard work.
They do. And I also share the podcast through all my social channels. So I give them heaps of free publicity. And podcasters are a bit like journalists. They choose you so they can get all their questions answered for free. You know, it's quite funny. I think, okay, that's all right. I don't mind. They ask me questions I haven't been asked before. It's all good. Doesn't take me that long to prep and to, you know, come up with something that's unique, because I don't want to say the same thing on every podcast appearance. I want to bring something new to each podcast, and I want to say something that's suitable for that podcast audience. So I'm always keen to understand the audience before I go on those podcasts. I was on 2 last week. One was the Association of School Business Administrators, which is not going to be published till later this year. And the other one was the Fractional something or other podcast, which is a new podcast going out. And that should be within the next couple of months. Do you need to be a paid subscriber? No, you do not need to be a paid subscriber. Let me just show you this, Maggie, the podcast button on YouTube. I don't want to share that. Go to here. YouTube, go back here. So what you do is you just add your video to YouTube. Let's go to dashboard. Oh, no, maybe it's, oh no, I don't want to go to the studio. I just want to go to my channel. Right, so if you just go to my channel, you'll see there's this little tab called podcasts. So when I manage my videos, I can just say this is a podcast, you know, so, and I add it. It's basically just another version of a playlist. And so you just put all your videos in that little tab, and that's your podcast. Yeah. Stop sharing. Any publishers and editors you would recommend, since I like to contribute to art writing related to natural history and paleontology? I left Adelaide in 1994 and I wasn't publishing back then. Now, there was a publisher I did speak to at one point who was based down in Port Adelaide who seemed pretty good. So Sue, if you'd like to message me, I'll try and go back through my 20 plus years of emails and find that company and you can speak to them. Now, there is the Australian Publishers Association website, which lists publishers. So you could look there. And there used to be the Small Press Network, which has now moved its website to independent publishers. And you could look up there. There's smaller publishers who specialise in particular fields. So you can consider that as well. Yeah. Neve, you've been singing recently? You've got a song you can sing us? Oh, I'm glad that got a laugh. Feel free to unmute. Stay in touch. Yes, great weekend. Keep an eye out for online events. Perfect.
Sorry, it wouldn't push the button for me.
All good.
I was just letting you speak. I was going to leave in a second, but I have been singing recently. I haven't been on stage for a little while, but I do go and see lovely Paul and get coaching from him now since meeting you at that
cool.
vocal session. That music is something inside of me, so I do love the art of music. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm in a bit of a process of thinking about what I want to do. I've got two beautiful creative talents, singing and poetry.
Yep.
And I feel like there's something out there for me. And I hope to do something with it. It'd be nice. Yeah, it would.
Well, just shoot some video or read the poems and put
it
online, and who knows what'll
Yes.
happen.
And you can put it on that this Lindican thing, can't you? That's what
LinkedIn,
it's
yeah, you
for,
can do
isn't
that.
it? LinkedIn, yeah, that's it. That's right. That is very new to me. It would take me some time to get the hang of, but I thought it was great. Thank you for introducing me to it.
And there's very few artists on LinkedIn, so it would be wonderful to see somebody putting some art content on LinkedIn. So you could be quite new and innovative by doing that. But definitely put it on YouTube, because YouTube's going to be found in online and Google search results. And even if you just do voice, so you might do the text as an image. So I use Microsoft Clipchamp for creating videos. It's free. You can put an image there and then just put your speaking the thing. And so you don't even have to be on camera if you don't want to be. You've got a bad hair day, you know. Just put a picture up, speak it or sing it, whatever, and put that up and you're good to go.
Yes, I believe there is a video of me on YouTube. And if you have a look on my Facebook, there is one of me singing at a Christmas function for the aged care facility.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, I have got stuff, but it's old. I got back up there. I get a little shy and I'm like,
Well, what people appreciate, it's not age, it's your energy and enthusiasm. So long as you convey that, don't worry about wrinkles. Don't worry about grey hair. I can say that now. It's energy and enthusiasm is what it takes.
Thanks, Sue.
Yeah, you're most welcome, Neve. Thanks for joining us.
That's all right. And thanks, Jennifer, for your time as well today. I really appreciate that. I'd like to be in touch. I followed you on Facebook. I hope that's okay.
That's fine. Of course, you can connect if you want.
Yes, I will, for sure. Definitely going to reach out from here on.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Have a great day, guys, and a lovely weekend. Lovely to meet you all.
Bye.
Yes. Ellson, if you go to LinkedIn Canberra.eventbrite.com.au, you can register and join me. I'll put it in the chat. linkedincanberra.eventbrite.com.au. I'd love to see you there. I'm going to drive up. National Museum Cafe. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks, Ellson. If you're saying goodbye, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Oh, we got the diehards left. So any final questions or comments?
Everyone want to go? This is my planning workbook if you ever want to plan a book.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing us that. I like the fact it's got that spiral bound because it makes it lie flat, much easier to follow.
Yeah, it's for learning.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
hard to see, but that's for learning.
That's terrific. Well done.
Mm.
Can I email your artwork for review? I'm not sure how to review artwork, but sure, why not? Yeah, thanks, Tracy. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. I think we can probably let everyone go now, Jen. Thank you again for your participation. For those people watching the recording, thank you for sticking right to the end. Please check the link in the slides, click on the links, take some action, at least 3 things in 3 days, and you'll get some benefits out of attending. So thanks and bye for now.
Bye.